Yes, good evening everyone. A brand new One Day Special is about to launch and I have the pleasure, of course, of introducing not only the One Day Special but our very special guest as well. Let's get straight to it. Let's say a very good evening to Ali. She's here, of course, from Stamps Away.
Good evening.
Hello. This looks very exciting.
It is. It's exciting, but mini.
It couldn't get much better then, could it?
Put everything in small packages is always better.
Oh, there's a saying, isn't there? There is a saying about things in small packages. Let's have a look what we've got though, because we've got absolutely huge savings. If there's anything small, it certainly isn't the saving. Look at that, £45 saving. Now, we are going to get into the details, but let me just tell you, if you are going for the whole of the One Day Special, you are actually paying less than just the templates that are also available individually. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. £34.96 is the price. We're going to go through all of this with Ali, of course. You are getting so much for your money. Ali, it is incredible value. Do you want to talk us through what we've got? Because we have got the most amazing templates. And we've just talked about mini.
Yes. So
tell us what we can make.
It's all about making mini books. I'm thinking Christmas here because I think these would be a fabulous Christmas gift. So you've got 8 different mini books and they're not just normal mini books. This is your cascading exploding box.
Oh, look
at all the space you've got to decorate. So although they're mini, i.e. that is only 8 centimetres square cube, you've got loads to decorate and you've got it all worked out so you don't have to worry. You just literally follow the instructions and away you go.
Wow.
So you've got 8 different ones and they all do something.
Do you know, that is incredible. I'm dying to open some of these books up as well. I'm just going to pop that down for a minute.
Yeah, because you have it's all staggered.
Concertina.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got the most amazing book stand here as well.
Oh,
we'll
which
come
comes
back
in
to
the kit
those.
as well.
Yeah, you do get those, don't you? Which is amazing to just hold all those little books. So each one of these is different, is it, Ali?
So you've got things like waterfalls. You've got flag books. I think that's the flag book.
Oh wow!
So
I love anything like
if you pull the little blue ribbon, they all go in different directions.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm almost afraid to pull a bit. You need to, don't you, to see how this works? Look at that.
And then it all folds up, and they're all designed to fit on the shelf
from the side, so you can see how that works.
It's such interesting. Everything plays with your eyes and plays with just making little images go a long way. So they're all designed to all have the same sort of dimension, so they all look really nicely on the bookcase. But when you look at them, they're each different. So this is just a little book, but there's no stitching involved. It's all done with just folding a piece of paper.
I can see, yes, we have got the fold on the edges there, haven't we?
And the hinge that the pages are fitted to, which has got a nice deep spine, which allows you to make really dimensional pages without them squashing the next page, which is really handy.
Have we got time to look at all of these? Have we? Can we, please? Oh, other way up with that one. I'm just looking at the mechanism. I wasn't paying any attention to the paper.
This is where the idea for the advent calendar came from, because I think some of these look like snowflakes when they're open, because if you look at that from the top...
Yes, if I sort of turn it around. Look at... Yeah, I don't want to bend it too far.
But you can obviously put... Because you decide how many pages, you can put extra pages in so it can go right round.
Wow.
And then you put the larger spine on because you get 2 different size covers.
Oh, let's just have a look at some more.
This one is...
Oh, this is the waterfall, is it? So did you pull that little tab?
Yeah, that little tab.
Oh, I love it. So you can put little sentiments or pictures on there as well. Oh, this is right up my street, Ali. I love anything like this.
This one is the explosion.
Okay, so a little ribbon on there, but... Oh, so could you put little things in there?
You can, when you glue the pages together, because you can open each page sort of individually and it'll open out to be the full image.
That's like a crocodile's mouth or a dinosaur's mouth.
But you can, when you glue them together, you can leave spaces for little tags and things like that.
You certainly can. Let me just open that up a little bit.
You need an extra pair of hands.
You do, don't you? But there you are. Look, there you can see. How clever. How
so you
clever.
See, and so that's a 6x6 image, but look how it's tucked up into the book. So it's all about making things. I think you'll like the next one as well.
I like them all. I like them all. Oh,
Right, so this one, you just pull start pulling one of the corners and it will untwist.
Oh, and you could put something really special inside there as a sentiment, can't you? Once these are folded, Ali, let me just see. Yes, you can. Look, they fold away really easily, don't they? Once it's been folded, it's almost as though it's trained into place.
Yes, yeah. That you just when it's something like that, that's on just a thinner paper, so that's a bit easier. But if it's a thicker paper, you just sort of sit there and fiddle with it for a few times, and then the next one, you pull out at the top.
Pull out at the top. Oh, I see. Oh, I love this one.
Again, you see lending itself to that Christmas decoration idea.
I can see that. So you could put more pages in again,
if you
want to.
You can determine how many pages.
Oh,
I did that one so it sits on the top of the box and you can see a little scene.
Now, Ali, I know these make little books, but if you wanted to, let me just, for instance, this one, if you wanted to put that in a regular journal or album,
regular
it
journals,
would still work
albums,
in the same way as like pop-outs.
Yeah, a lot of these, if you just use one element, it can go inside a card. But we've just shown them, sort of taking them, not even as far as they will go. We've just, run with it, do whatever you fancy.
Now, you've taken so much time to create an Advent theme.
Yes, seemed like a good idea at the time. 24 mini books.
Can I grab one of these?
You can.
Let me just pick this one up at the top. So 24, and they're all working little books.
They're all working. The only one I didn't use was the large box one because I thought that would be too big. So it's 7 of the 8 little books that they're all done. All done in matching papers.
You
added
could
the
put
numbers.
little Christmas stories into these, couldn't you? A little story that, different pictures, different stories. So every day you're telling the story and then you get to Christmas Eve and Santa's arrived.
Yeah.
So for children you could do something really
But you could also
clever.
do it the other way, that they could be blank when you do them in the morning and then decorate them over the day.
Yes.
And then I put ribbon on them, so the idea being you can hang them on the Christmas tree as you're going along, and then you'll have your
I do
book
love
of
that
tree of
idea.
memories.
Oh, wow. Oh, you're going to have so much fun with these as well. And because they're templates, you're going to use them over and over and over again. Just incredible. They really, really are so clever. It's much more than that, though, because we did say we've got a whole one-day special. We've got ephemera for you. Are these brand new ones as well, Ali?
We've got a little bit of a mixture. You've got mini ones that we've done before just because they lend themselves to the mini books, mini words because they fit perfectly on the spine, and then we've got leather effect if you want to do faux leather notebooks.
Oh, wow. Gorgeous. What about all these papers at the back
so
here?
we have got just an array of papers, really nice quality papers, because I find with a mini book, actually, paper is a lot easier to work with because you're doing tiny folds.
Yeah.
So we've gone with a nice craft one. They're just really nice quality. But even if you don't like the designs, use these as your practice papers because you can get loads of them out of it.
I think this is going to be very addictive once you get going.
It is. To be fair, I joke about making 24 mini books, but it wasn't a major challenge. You soon get to know your favourite ones, which ones are quick to make.
Yeah.
Actually, the pop-out box is really quick to make, which is nice. So it's impressive, but it doesn't take hours. You've also got tissue paper, marble effect tissue paper on here.
That effect is just incredible.
It is lovely, but the reason I chose that is when you put it over the MDF, it gives a really nice wood effect. If I just turn this shelf.
Oh, it's nice.
And there's 3 big sheets. But again, you can also put it over the covers of your book or on the inside to give it that more traditional old, you know how the old books used to have the beautiful marbled paper on the inside. I thought, well, I kind of was going around going, oh yeah, I could put that in, and hubby didn't stop me. So hopefully he's not watching, otherwise I'll be found out. You really have got
value for money. We haven't mentioned the DVD. So that's there as well?
Yeah, so that's like your workshop. So that's me going through, this is what you do, this is how you can extend it, this is just creating one page, this is when you've done 10 pages to get, so all of that inspiration so that you're not going to get home and go, what did I do with this again? You've got that there to watch time and time again.
And of course, we've mentioned the bookcases. Do you get 2
you get
in the
2
one-day special?
Yeah, because again, I think they look so cute, and I'm thinking Christmas here. I mean, they're all saying about, panic buy for Christmas. Don't worry about that, just make your own little presents, because I just think these are so cute. And they don't take up a huge amount of space.
That is very true.
We are all very conscious of how much space things take up, which is why I've gone mini, but you still can pack so much into them.
Oh, and everybody's got their own theme that they want to work with as well. You can choose the papers. You can, of course, work with the papers from the one-day special. I can tell you, we are very busy. In fact, we're only 9 minutes in, almost 10 minutes in, and almost 20% of the stock has already gone. I am not surprised. I'm going to repeat what I said. If you're looking at individuals, for the templates alone, you will be paying more just for the templates than the whole of the one-day special. We can prove that point actually. If we have a look on the website, we will see them. Templates on their own, $39.99. There are some instructions in there. You can see them on the picture. You're getting all of those templates, but the one-day special itself, everything that we've just mentioned, the templates, the DVD, the ephemera, the papers, the tissue paper, the 2 bookshelves, they're all included. Now you can go for extra bookcases as well. You've got 2 for $14.99. You do the maths for yourselves, you can see. We've got all sorts for you. We've got Ali's nature shots as well. These are beautiful. Available not just as a DVD, but also as a USB, and you get 3 attachments. So depending on, you know, the little sockets that you've got in your laptops or computers, something will fit. And then we've got the ephemera there, 5-star reviews. Look at that. We've got all sorts. Oh, I've never seen the casting plaster before. That's new to me.
You'll like that.
Oh, I certainly will. Do you know, it's flying. It is literally flying out of the door. Please, please, please don't hesitate checking those baskets out. You see value for money here. You're certainly getting it with that saving. But let's get back to Ali, because Ali, if we can, please, can we see a demonstration?
You can. So I'm going to start with the explosion one, and I just want to explain how we've tried to make this as simple as possible. So each of the templates has a letter on it for the mechanism. So this is letter C, and then when you look through, you find another one that's also got a letter C, and that is your cover.
Simple as that.
So we've tried to keep it, because there was no point in putting in 5 different covers that do the same thing.
Of course,
so that's why we've done it that way. But also, if you get a bit carried away and put too many pages, you have got a wider cover with a bigger spine. But they're all designed to be the same size. So when you look at them on the shelf, and that's really nice. So they all look the same from the spine, and it's not until you open them that you see all the difference.
Yes,
and that's why the Advent calendar is so much fun, because you don't know which one's going to be which.
I just love the concept.
Right, so I raided my really, really old scrapbook papers. It's great.
Well, this is a good excuse, isn't it, to get all those little bits and pieces out, your favourite papers as well. You know, whatever you've got, because you're working in minute, you are going to find something that works.
Yes, and I mean, okay, so I'm going to do one of the explosion books here.
Okay.
And you know, for this to have real impact, you make 4 or 5 of these elements. I've already made 2, so we'll do a little one with 3. Right, so you draw around your template, cut it out, then you run an embossing tool up and down all these lines, okay?
Wow, I'm just going to let you know, everybody, 30% of the stock has already gone. It is literally flying.
Flying books. I like flying books.
Flying books. I just love books, especially when they're mini books.
Well, I do love working in miniature. But I say, when you're working with things like this, it is amazing how much you can fit in even in a mini one. So I'm just, as we said earlier, about sort of training your folds. So you can see it's wanting to go where I've scored it, and then I'm just making sure that it's all going together nicely. And then
use something like offcuts of wallpaper and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, anything like that. You start looking round and you're going, oh yes, I'll have that, and I'll have that, and I'll do that, and you'll save all sorts of things. Maps, old maps are fabulous.
Oh yes, of course.
And the great thing, in fact, I've got an old map here. The great thing with the templates, you can see through. So you can make sure that you can get where you want it, you know, so that you can sort of make sure that you're not getting the edge in it, and so you can see. So again, if you're using your nice patterned paper, you can make sure that your interesting bit is right in the middle.
Of course, and you can see exactly what the score lines are, so that helps again there.
So all I'm doing is where I've done those little score lines, those little corners fold in, just give it a little pinch. If you're working on thin paper like I am here, run your embossing tool, rather than press your embossing tool hard or onto a soft surface, just run it up and down a couple of times, and you'll see it's enough to guide your paper
These
through.
look great fun to do.
Boing. Right, so there's one, and I happen to have two I've already made. But you can see they don't take long. And I've done, I say, when I was doing the Advent calendar, I think I did 4 like this. And I just sat down, scored them all up and sat and folded them in one go. And then,
this is a great family project as well. You could all have your own little books.
now, if you wanted to make this into a pocket to put a tag, just glue around the badge shape there and not across the top. But I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm just going to glue. And I do use a wet glue because you find that you've got time to wiggle it all round and make sure it lines up.
Yeah. I like the idea of putting a tag in that little pocket though.
It does lend itself to that really nicely. And also you can alternate which way round you fold it so that you can have the pattern on the outside if you've got a single-sided paper. But if you've got your double-sided papers, it's perfect because you don't have to make that choice.
And those papers where we really can't choose between them, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. All I tend to do, I did do one with a double-sided paper, and I used the same sheet because you can get 4 of these out of a 12 by 12.
Can you?
Yeah, because they're just shy of 6 inches square. And I just folded 2 one way, 2 the other, so that when you looked, it was alternating. So that's the start of my book. Next, we're going to do the cover. So take whatever you want to make your cover out of. I tend to go a little bit more cardy with this. But again, you can do it out of paper and then put some decorative paper on it. So draw around.
Oh, Riley, this is flying. We're over 1/3 of the stock gone.
Score
We're only just
the
over
spine.
16 minutes in.
I've got 7 more books to show as well.
I know, slow down, slow down.
But you do,
No, it's great, actually, that it's-
get carried away with them. You know, and the thing is, with projects like this, actually the making of the book should be the quick bit. It's the decorating is where you can have your fun.
I was just thinking, you are going to have so much fun putting the books together, but then think of the techniques that you can bring to the covers.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely endless.
It is, and you know, you can totally get lost. And it is a tiny little one, but that is a 6 by 6. So I did the one you showed. I printed out the pictures 6 by 6, and then just literally folded up the photo. But this could be, you could have photos and sayings and have it as a mini scrapbook, which all folds up really cutely. Here's my cover. This is the thinner spine.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to do is glue on there, and again I use a wet glue because it means that I can bring it in, wiggle it in, making sure the point goes to the bottom fold. Bit of glue around there, fold it over. Now, depending how you want to do it, you can sandwich a little bit of ribbon in there so that you can tie it shut. The spines, you've got your mini words in the One Day Special, so you can add words to the spine. I just think having spines on them just looks so lovely on there.
It does.
And there you go, one little exploding book.
That is such a clever idea. I love it. And that is one book. We have got another 7 to show you as well. There's 8 different designs here. It's incredible, it really is. Don't forget, with the One Day Special, not only are you getting all of those savings, you are getting the DVD, so you don't have to worry about, you know, remembering everything. That tutorial will be there within the DVD for you. You've got the ephemera, you've got lots of beautiful papers, you've got the tissue paper, you've also, of course, got 2 of the bookcases. They're there for you as well. We've got ribbon included as well. We didn't even mention the ribbon earlier. Forgot about that. There it is. We're going to show it you. All that for £34.96. £45 saving. It is ridiculous. 40% of the stock has now gone. 325024. Do not just go for those templates. They are brilliant at £39.99, but you'll be paying more for just the templates than the whole of the One Day Special. You are going to have so much fun with these. Now, we are going to look at a few other things as well, because we mentioned Ali's nature shots earlier on. This is a USB. This is really, really clever. Now, there are 3 different types of, what's the word I'm looking for? Connector, yes, the connector.
Connectors to go into your different ports.
Got you. So it's almost as though, if I just take this one off, it's almost as though you've got, I'm pulling the right end, aren't I? Just double checking there. It's almost as though you've got your little adapter there. You can see your regular USB there. Is that the C size, that one?
That one's the
one
C,
of them is, isn't it?
That's the standard, and then that one is a micro B port. I don't know what all these mean, but I read that and
so
remembered
that is
it.
your 3-in-1, and I would say if you're not using it, put that little adapter one back on the end so you keep that all nice and neat. That is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant idea, and what an amazing price as well. $17.99 is the price. That's going to fit all your PCs and your laptops, and that allows for progression, I presume. If you're buying a new laptop or computer, you might find different ports in there.
Yeah, we've only ever done DVDs previously, and it's like, then people go, but they don't come with DVD
They don't
drives
now, do
on
they?
anymore.
No.
So we're like, okay, we need to. So this is our first ever USB.
Oh, I just think it's brilliant that you've given everybody those 3 attachments there, so it should work for everybody. 336828 is the item number. Let's show you 1 or 2 little snippets from the USB itself, because it is all about Ali's nature shots, and we know she's brilliant at all those shots. Let's have a look. Now, we have got lots of different pictures. Oh, look at these. So you just click on the one you want, Ali?
You click on the one you want, and once you've clicked on it, you then get options. But can I just say, these are taken as a crafter's point of view.
Wow.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a perfectly composed photograph for it's done because it's like, that will look lovely on a card. I can decoupage that up. I can, you know, and it gives you all the different, so you've got aged pages on there, you've got ATCs, you've got envelopes, you've got all these different options. There's 30 different pictures to choose from, and I've tried to cover all seasons.
Oh,
so there's the aged ones. I
that.
love the aged ones, because then if you want to, you can add a bit of your own colour into it as well to give it that, you know, the Victorian postcards where they used to hand tint them. That looks really nice when you do that. I love taking photographs, so I'm hoping that you can enjoy them as much as I do.
The fact that you can change, we saw it there, from the colour to the sepia, and you've got so much more in there for you. All the work's been done.
So that's an envelope that when it folds up, the image is on both sides as a full image. So if you imagine that envelope folded up, so that if you were using that in a journal where you want it as a pocket, you would normally see the back of an envelope, which might be the most boring bit. But if you've got the image on there, so again, I'm thinking for journals and things like that.
Wow, wow. All for just $17.99. Let me show you some samples here as well. Do you know, this is clever. I've just had a sneaky peek inside. There we are. We can see the sepia and the colour there, but look at this. It's one of those twisty cards, but look, more images inside there. Do you know, I'm thinking scrapbooks again here as well, Ali.
Yeah, and again, I've chosen images where I've left a space down the side so you can put a nice saying, you know, you can journal onto them. There's lots of sort of sunsets and ones that lend themselves to doing that little bit more to them, but also they just look lovely. So there's the envelope printed out and folded up, so you can see if you were using that as a pocket on the journal, you've still got that pretty side to it. It's it's not boring.
Absolutely love it. Well, if you do want this one, 336828 is the item. We've got more samples. I'm sure we'll see some more a little bit later, but do not miss out on that. The very first USB we've seen from Stamps Away. Now, because we've got such a great value when it comes to the one-day special, we're going to go back to Ali now for some more demonstration. Do we get to see another book then, Ali?
Yes. Well, I'm only going to do one page of this because this is one that lends itself to cards, and these are a nice size to do mini cards, you know, just as a note. Or alternatively, fun gift tags. We don't play with our gift tags enough, in my opinion. We do a fold over, but play with it. This is an ideal size for a gift tag. So this is book shape E, which is the pop-out window. Okay, so you need 2 pieces of paper or card for this.
Yeah.
If you're using a 12 by 12 that's got a strip along the bottom, like this, always chop that off before you turn it over.
Right,
because otherwise you end up, like I did on one of mine, and had the lovely manufacturer's name along the back of your card. So again, very simply, we just draw round, draw inside, mark these. Don't have to remember all this, don't worry. Score, 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 score. There's a song to it. Okay. Now, on the DVD, I explain, because you can get 4 of these pages easily out of a 12 by 12, and if you are doing 4, I don't cut them out to begin with. I actually cut the windows out first.
All right.
Because, let me do it, and I'll do it properly. Do as I say and all of that. So let me just quickly draw, and this will give me 2 pages anyway, so. So just exactly the same as I just did.
Yeah.
And I'll explain why I tell you to do this.
Ali, almost half the stock of the one-day special is already gone. We're not even halfway through. This is the launch hour.
Right, if you leave this in the big sheet to do your cutting out, it means you've got plenty to hold and you're not holding your fingers too close to where your knife is.
That's a really good hint.
Okay. So you just cut out. If you're not happy doing this with a knife, you can do it with a pair of scissors. Okay.
Yeah. Would you snip into the centre of that rectangle and then work to the corners? Yeah.
And it's, you know, and also you can be a little bit imaginative. You could tear this out if you wanted to.
Actually,
once you're confident with the mechanism, you can, and then all you're going to do is you're going to cut these as well.
Okay, so that's where you drew the line rather than scored.
Yes. But if you've accidentally scored it instead, it gives you something to follow. Then when you cut it out, you see I've got all that paper to support it. It just makes it a little bit safer. Okay. And then on a coordinating piece or a different colour or a different photo or just something, all you're going to do on this one is draw right round the outside.
Okay.
And score the middle line.
Right.
Okay. It will all make sense in a minute. Now this is one that I got a little bit addicted making this one because this lends itself to doing 6 pages and being able to open it right out as a Christmas card, Christmas mini book. Right, so I found the easiest way to do this is fold the whole thing in half along those score lines first.
Okay.
Okay, and then open it up, poke that through, and then just pinch. Okay,
well, that looks easy enough.
And pinch, and then just ease that one to be that way round, and now you can see.
Oh, I see.
But this again lends itself. You could have something dangling in there. You could put acetate behind there. This, again, you're just going to fold along that score line. And that gets glued into there.
Perfect.
And that creates your... But I'm thinking that looks like a little television.
It does, actually.
You know, there's all sorts of things. And then glue on the back of here.
I'm loving this well, Ali. You don't need dies and a die cutting machine.
No, so you can do this.
This is available to absolutely everybody.
You can sit and do these anywhere. I'm thinking caravans, tents, if you're... So, you know.
Very true.
Sitting on your lap. As much as die cutters are fabulous, there is a certain noise to them, so you can't be doing that while somebody else is watching the telly in the same room as you.
No,
it's like my mum used to knit
some people, doesn't it?
All the time. So, and then you just make as many of those as you want, and then you take, so what letter was that on? E.
Yeah.
So we know the E cover will make, you can fit 5 comfortably inside, and you make the same cover again, and here's one. And you can just expand it out.
Oh, do you know, it's just a finishing touch as well, the fact that you can fasten those together with a bit of ribbon.
Yeah, so
have the fun of opening them up as well.
But, you know, you could just have little butterflies inside there, little photos. And again, because you've got the template, you could come in and have a look and see what will fit inside that window.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, that's
so
a good
that's
idea.
where it's really handy, because you could, because I did a nice one with a beautiful graphic 45, and I was looking, it's like, actually, that's not going to be visible. That's not going to be seen through the window. So I was able to lay this on top of my, must have a pattern paper here. So say, for example, here, I could lay it on, it's like, yes, here's going to show. But that saying's not going to be visible all the way. So you can plan before. Because how many times have we cut up a nice piece of paper and then it's like, well, actually, I can't even see that when it's in the project.
Very true. Very true. Oh, my goodness. You're going to have so many ideas. I think everybody at home must be watching and think, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I know what paper I'm going to work with. I know what ephemera I've already got, or you've spotted it in the one-day special and it's given you an idea straight away of how you're going to work with this. I do genuinely think these are going to be very, very addictive to do. I love the idea of being able to sit down without having to get any... Do you know, I'm not going to say I don't use a die cutting machine myself. I do. I use them all the time and I wouldn't be without it. But sometimes it is nice just to sit down and just grab one or two bits of paper, your favourite papers, sit with a pair of scissors, sit with a craft knife and do those folds and think about it a little bit more. Take your time, a nice quiet room and just have a bit of time to yourself, or with the family, because everybody can get involved with this. I just think it's an absolutely perfect idea for a family, because you can, let's say it's a family of 4, there's 2 children, mum and dad.
Yeah.
You've got a little book each or 2 books each, but then you can bring grandma and granddad in, or maybe auntie's come for a visit. You know, you can all sit together and do something and make something special.
Really good for using up your scraps, because you know yourself, if you're using dyes on a scrap, it can sometimes be, because if it moves a little bit, this, you're seeing it, so you can find the tiniest of scraps and get them used, which is great. Give the kids the scraps. They can sit and draw around.
Yeah.
Okay, they might need help cutting out, especially if there's one involving a knife, but they can sit and fold. And
the children may have books that they've loved and they've got a little bit damaged perhaps, or the covers have got bent, or the spine, so they could use the pages from their favourite books. That would be another idea. Oh yes, make your own versions of your favourite book. Tell your own stories.
Well,
I do love the idea of telling stories.
I used to, when I was teaching at nursery, we used to take photos of the children playing in the role play area, and then I used to write books about them.
Oh.
And so we'd have them at story time.
Yeah.
So there was my little group called Pandas, so we had pandas in space one time and things like that. But how much nicer would it be if it was a pop-up book?
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it?
How good would that be to make the children? And I know they only went back to school today and yesterday, but you know, homework's going to start coming through. You know, and quite often there'll be a write a storybook. You know, your child is going to go to the top of the class if they take a pop-up book in.
You know, that is a
I know
really,
that's
really
bad,
good
isn't
point.
it? But yeah, make them shine.
I often think about that, you know. I often think back to when my children were at school and they came on with projects, and all of the things we've got available now in craft that you could use in those projects. This is going to be absolutely brilliant for many years to come. And we're talking about the books because you can make the books, you've got the covers, but don't forget, you can make those pop-ups in your cards, you can make them in your little albums, in your journals, in your scrapbooks. It's just completely endless. Don't forget also the exploding box, which I did manage to tuck away very neatly. It's not hard to do at all, but it's such a lovely idea. I mean, somebody who's never seen an exploding box and opens this, and inside are little photographs or little sentiments or phrases. Maybe they mean something. I'm just thinking new baby, or when the baby grows up, you know, the little photos and the words they've said and the way they pronounce them, and you write these things down.
Yes.
You could make a very funny little keepsake there, couldn't you?
And it's the same size as an exploding box, but you can get so much more in. But I think it was Adam was saying the other day, these little selfie printers are very in at the moment, you know, and that would be a perfect size.
It would.
You know,
that's
for all those, because you know, we take photos a lot, but I don't think we print them out enough.
Not like, no, we don't. We keep them on our phones, then we change our phones, and sometimes we lose them, and it's important to keep things. And what better way than having them on a little bookcase in those books as well. Oh, amazing value. I can't get over this. It is an incredible price, £45 saving. If you've just joined us, not only are we really, really busy, we're just over halfway through, but I did hear a bit of an update. Half of the stock had gone as we reached halfway through the launch show. The templates themselves are $39.99 if you look on the website. In itself, that is just a fantastic deal, but you are paying less for the whole of the one-day special than you would pay just for the templates on their own. £34.96.
I never was good at maths at school.
Well, I am today kind of thinking, how have you done this? You've got the templates, you've got the DVD, you've got 2 bookcases.
This is possibly why Paul doesn't let me do these sort of things.
You've got the beautiful papers, you've got the tissue paper, you've got the ephemera in there as well. Oh, there's something for everybody. There really is. 325024 is that item number. Yeah, I think I'm going shopping after this. Anything miniature, and you've got me anyway.
This is it. I say, although they're miniature, you can fit so much in. Yeah. Because I did get a little bit carried away with a couple, you know, and I was printing out photos and everything. And I was hours doing one tiny little book. But boy, was it some good hours.
I bet it was. What can we see now then,
Okay,
Ali?
so shall we do the pop-up out of the boxy one?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I've just grabbed an array of random papers here. Very glittery, that one. So I think that's going to be the box. So again, you draw around it. Okay, I'm going to try and be as quick as I can to show you the mechanism on this one.
You see, I've noticed something already with that, Ali.
What's that?
You've got your box template, you draw around it, I can see the score lines. You've even thought about the little notches that you need to take out to make it fit together properly.
Yeah. I will embarrass my husband because he handed me a template and he went, here you go. And I took it, right, you've missed a score line out there, there's no tab. So he gets them back. And my very first Waterfall one, for ages, I was using one where I'd cut some bits off with a pair of scissors and stuck some card on. I said, could you cut me a proper one for the telly, please? Because I'm not going on with my modified, that's the word I was trying to think of, modified one to make it work, just to show that this is how the process goes through. Because obviously, I tease him, but he did have to try and make it so that because we had this idea of this little bookcase with them all filled up and all looking lovely on there, and wanting them all looking the same from the spine, maybe the odd one slightly thicker than the other. So he then had to take the mechanism, reduce it down so it still fitted in that size, which possibly was where his maths was well spent. Mine was done on the pricing.
You know, and I've done exploding boxes and various different folds in workshops in years gone by, and you know the amount of time you spend measuring, scoring, marking things out, and then you've got those that say I can't measure, I don't know if it's centimetres, millimetres or inches, and it's everything has been thought out. All the hard work has been done behind the scenes, and it is hard work because Ali, you've been going many years now, and it's a family business. You bring new things to us all the time as well, but there's an incredible amount of work goes on behind the scenes.
There is, but the thing is, the measuring, nothing in craft should be frustrating. So if we can do a template that allows you to be able to fold up a box as quickly as this without having to work out angles, and I mean this box isn't so bad, but the first fold I did, that explosion, you're dealing with diagonals and things, and it's like life's too short for that. You should just be getting on and doing the fun. Also, this is a challenging card anyway because it's very glittered, but it doesn't matter because I've got the score lines there and I'm able to follow it. So that's my basic box. It's a bit like playing cards. So a bit of glue and
this is the point where I was saying about the little snip out bits that you would normally create on the tabs, because to get the things to fold properly, you have to take those triangles out the corners. You've marked it, so you've created the template so that everything is exactly in the right shape.
Yeah.
So you just cut to the outline that you've created.
And then all I do is I put my finger in, smooth it all down so the tabs are all
and that's perfect.
Glued up like that. And then if you need to, I mean, because this is a glitter card, you might want to pop a little peg or something on that while you carry on and make the pages. I do have the secret weapon to mini bookmaking, pegs. Because Paul was trying to tie one of my books back up and the glue hadn't fully dried. He was like, how do you do it? And I just clipped it with a peg and then tied the bow, and I'd got a spare pair of hands. So I always have pegs hanging about. Right, so let's do the basic mechanism. Okay. I am going to be I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I do apologise. I'm going to do two at once just so I can get more pages done. If you are confident to do this, and you don't have to, do it one at a time. There's no, if you want to give it a go at doing two, again, I clip my pages together.
Okay, yeah.
But I just want to get 4 pages done.
Okay.
And for this bit, it's nice and easy. I'm just going to cut those out. Okay. So that's going to give
I always prefer to use a pair of scissors for the outline cuts of this straight, Ali, or could you use a paper trimmer?
You can use your paper trimmer, but because I'm going into different pages and I might be going sort of, say for example, I wanted a specific part of that design and I was being really naughty and going smack bang in the middle. Okay. With scissors, it's easier. With a trimmer, it's very easy to overshoot, and then you've not got a big piece of paper left. So that's why I tend to go with scissors. Right, so I've got my 4 pages. So I'm going to pop my template back on. You only need to worry about the hole there to mark on one, okay? You don't need to worry about that. And for this particular mechanism, you always want an even number of pages, which it took me a minute to work that out, because I thought as it's coming up in the middle, you'd want an odd number. But you don't.
You see, we wouldn't have even thought about that. We were creating something from scratch.
Yeah.
It's not something that would even cross your mind.
Whenever you're thinking of stars and things like that, you tend to go an odd number. But because this pulls out by the join of the pages, you actually want an even number. Okay, so you just go along.
Was this the last little book that I did show? The one that I pulled it straight? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for this one, actually.
It is
do you know,
lovely.
it's literally flying out, the whole ODS. Almost 60% of the stock has gone. This is launch. I've just noticed I did pop that in the wrong way around, so I've just put it back. But you've got a little ribbon tab there. If I just pull it out of the box, how sweet is this? I mean, you could put all sorts again as those little pop-ups.
Yes,
Bunny rabbits work very well. But
yes,
theme it, so you've got your themes again, your different seasons.
Exactly.
You could have pumpkins and acorns and little leaves
Yeah,
on
or
there for
little
autumn.
postage stamps look really nice on a travel one. I have done one, I think it's on this shelf here, that I used a map. Can I reach this one? I think I can.
Oh, I had a good view of that tissue paper there on the
I know,
side
it's
of the
lovely,
box
isn't it?
as well.
So, this one I put little photos on, but I did it on maps. When I'm doing this one, I do one side and then turn it round and do the other. So it's not a traditional book in the fact that you read it front to back. You read from the middle out.
Do you know, I love that idea, because if you've got a map and you could pinpoint where your relatives live and put their little photos in and sort
hang on, I've got
mark it with a little sort of drawn-on flag.
I've got to find it, because I did put Oundle on here.
Did you?
Above the A of awaits is Oundle. I found it.
Oh, I love it.
There you go. Adventure awaits in Oundle. So yeah, you can just... Maps are brilliant, and as I say, they're also a good source of recycling, because obviously they go out of date so quickly.
Sewing patterns as well. You know, if you've got the envelopes, if you've got any... my mum, I hope she's not watching, because I'm going to talk about her again. She used to have so many sewing patterns. And I did say to her quite recently, have you still got them? Because I thought, I'm going to salvage these. And she hasn't got them. They were a long time in the loft, I think, but then she eventually got rid of them. And now it's like, oh, what you could have done with those.
I know, and you see the tissue's great for covering things, and then, as you say, all the covers and everything are just fabulous, because you could put, if you are putting things onto the pop-up, what you have to bear in mind is when it closes over, you can't have it going too tall, because when it closes over, it'll poke out the top
of course,
there. So just lay it down, close it over, and then just check your height. One of the rabbits did have to have a little bit of a remodel on his ear.
Oh, you locked his ears, did you?
Only just a tiny,
just had a little hair
rather
trim.
his ear than his legs. I thought, because it was either I'd have to trim a little bit off his bottom, or so I just gave him a little bit of a haircut on the end of his ear.
Yeah, just a little minor trim, that's all it was.
Yes, just a tiny. So again, I'm just folding these alternate ways. Okay. And then one of them is going to be the middle one, and if you want to, you can use the marker on the template to mark that, or you can be like me and freestyle it. But we've tried to cover it, so if you're not confident, just sort of guessing where you want it, you don't have to. But I'm also not going to run around with a ruler and check that you've used it. I am very much for having your own creativity. So I've done 2 different papers, so I'm going to alternate these. That's it. So they're just going to get glued back to back. Again, use the wet glue, because that just gives you time to wiggle it. Okay.
I'm imagining all sorts here. I really am.
Well, depending
with these templates, that is, not the conversation that's in my ear.
Depending how many pages so this one you can really go to 6 pages will pretty much fold right round, so you can be as as free as you want to. You can also use one of the templates in the kit to just cover that with a pattern paper. In fact, let's do the job properly. So I'm going to just use...
There's even a template for that, is there?
Yeah, if we needed a template, we did a template. And you start adapting ones as well. It's like, well, actually, I fancy an extra page in that. I'll use there's like single page covers and all sorts. So that's just I'm only going to stick one on just for speed.
I reckon somebody will find a way of mixing these in a different way, the templates themselves, and creating something that maybe even you've not spotted.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing using different pages within, so each one is a different action. Especially one of the ones where sort of that weird twisty one, you can have that one side and then a waterfall the other.
Yeah.
So there is, we say 8. That's what they're designed for. Right, so I'm just going to, now we said about being an even number, because if I hold that on the middle, can you see you've got the same number each side?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to put my hole.
Okay.
I'm going to find a little bit of ribbon. I don't know where the end of my ribbon is. There it is.
I can't believe you've even supplied some
ribbon. The
for us.
colour may vary, but I've chosen... hopefully you'll get that beautiful apple green, but there'll always be a really nice bright colour and a more subtle colour, so that again we're trying to cover.
I don't think it really matters anyway about the ribbon, because everybody's going to have their own papers. You would never know, Ali, what papers and themes people are going to choose.
But it's a nice thickness, it's ideal for this.
Yeah.
So that goes on there, so he pops into there.
That is such a lovely idea.
Out he pops.
Oh my goodness, literally flying out the door. Can I tell you, I'm just looking at the clock because I'm getting a bit worried. This is the launch show. How much has gone? 60% of the entire stock has already gone. We are talking about the one-day special, of course, with that huge saving of £45. You can go onto the website. You can see those templates for yourself at $39.99. Don't go for those. I can't believe I'm saying don't buy something off the website, but I'm saying it, don't go for those templates at $39.99, because for less than that, for $34.96, you're going to get alongside every one of those templates exactly the same. You're going to get the DVD, you're going to get 2 of the bookcases, you're going to get the tissue paper, you're going to get the ephemera, you're going to get all of these fancy papers as well. Whether you use them or not on the books, you probably will use some and then use some of your own. And even as we've just pointed out, the ribbon is also thrown in there as well. Obviously, you can choose other things, you can decorate however you wish. But as a starting point, you have got absolutely everything you need, bar, let's say, an embossing tool, a little bit of well, you've got your paper, if you want to start with this paper here. Your glue, obviously, but we all have our glues, don't we? If you don't, stock up while you can. This is going to give you so much delight. You're going to sit, I honestly think, once you get going, you will not want to stop until you've created all 8 books, and then you'll want to take it much further, trying to find new ways as well. 325024 is the item number. We are incredibly busy out there. That's all I'm going to say. So if you want this, do not wait. Check those baskets out. Ali, have we got time for another book?
Right, yeah,
we've got 9 minutes.
We'll try and do a flag book, okay?
Oh, yes.
Right, so you need a piece of paper that's going to be the hinge part. You don't really see much of that, so it can be anything. Also, we have done the flag like a flag, and we've done it this way for a reason. It means that when you go to put your elements inside the book, you don't have to worry about where to stick it. It's not going to catch. By having that extra bit, it helps you measure it out. I will explain when we get to that. But the flag one is easy to find in the pack because it's the one that looks like a flag, which makes it nice. And you put an F on it as well. Pure coincidence. Right, so draw around, and I'm just going to run my embossing tool up and down before I take it off.
Okay, and repeat again with the instructions. You don't have to remember which is score, which is pencil, Ali, because it's all there on the DVD.
It's all on the DVD, and again, I will sort of tell you little things about if you're using thinner paper.
Yeah.
Quite often with the mechanisms that are sort of a hinge like this, I've actually found paper a lot easier to work with and makes the movement smoother. If you go with card, it can be quite stiff. I did my first exploding cascading box, I did with card, and when you opened it, all the pages just stood upright, which which is lovely. It just wasn't quite the look I was going for, and I'm like, oh, I wanted it all to flop, and it's because I thought because it was a hinge, it needed to be really sturdy, but actually you're folding things, and that adds strength anyway. So I'm just concertinaing this up, and you can see, because I've scored those, they're folding exactly where I want them to, nice and evenly spaced. Okay, until you get to the end there, and then I always just give it a little fold up together, give it a good old push, and that is your basic mechanism.
Perfect.
So now you want to do your flag. Now this is a double-sided paper, and I notice the other side doesn't show where the maker's name is, so I'm going to trim that off, just so I don't accidentally get that on my flags. Okay, so keeping this facing so that the F is the right way up,
Okay, yeah.
so that we know that our flags are all going to be coming out the same way. I'm just going to draw round. Now this is quite a nice one because you can tessellate it together,
Yeah,
and save yourself some paper.
Yeah.
But you want 10 flags in total. So I tend to do 5 out of one page, 5 out of another.
Ali, you keep going, but I'm just going to let everybody know, honestly, it is literally flying out the door. 70% of the stock has gone.
Right, so...
What have you done? You're going to break this show, Ali.
well, fortunately, we have tomorrow. We have only got one-day special.
Have you?
Show. We've got 2 happy hours.
Have you? I didn't know that.
So that's good, because that means I don't have to panic now what I'm doing at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm at least all right for 8 o'clock.
Will there be any stock available for the morning though? Just make sure you check those out.
So I'm just possibly, here's a top tip. When you're drawing round a rectangular thing live on television, don't choose a grid paper. It's really hard to see your pencil lines. Okay, I probably won't get all of these flags done, but I'll get a few done so I can explain this shape a little bit more to you. Yeah, that has really made that challenging. I might do some on the blue side in a minute, make my life a little bit easier. It's a nice paper though.
It is a nice paper.
I quite like sort of graph papers and things like that. But this is it. I just went into my box of scrapbook papers. So I thought, oh, they're really nice papers. I'm like, yeah, I've had them years, literally, possibly 15 years. Okay, so there's 4. I'm going to do some on the blue so I can at least see what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'm going to just do a couple just so that you can see what this is all about. And again, you know, this is where you're thinking of little messages and things like that that you can put on this little section. Okay, so I'll just do 2.
Now, Ali, I presume you're back at 8 o'clock as normal?
Yes.
I'm getting quite worried as to whether there's going to be any stock left for 8 o'clock. Seriously, everybody, check out now. You can always come back at 8 and watch the demonstrations, get more tutorials. We've seen a number of books actually this hour, including this one here, but there are more to watch. And of course, you've got everything on the DVD. But the stock is looking very vulnerable. 325024. Yeah, don't hesitate. Grab yours now.
Right, so you will actually, to do this properly, you'll need 5 flags in each colour.
Okay.
So you come in with your zigzaggy bit, and you're going to go along and put glue on the left-hand side of each of those peaks.
It's like a little staircase.
It is.
Put the glue on the steps.
Now, what I was saying about this bit here, it means I come in and I just line that up onto that step.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not having to think, oh, where's it going? It's measured out for me.
It is, isn't it?
So I can't go too far left, too far right. Okay, so you will have had 5 of those, but I've only done 4 on this occasion. Okay, and then you just repeat on the other section. I've only done 2 this time. So, and again, you line it up so you see they're not going to clash They're perfectly spaced. By having that little bit there, it means that that will pass by each other and they're not going to clash. You're not having to think about it at all. And then again, you make the same cover again, it gets attached in, and then you can pull it in and out as you please.
So this is more like, the little flag book. I fell in love with this one when I pulled it out. This is why I knew which one to go for, because I've got a soft spot for the last one that you did, but also this one. I think it's absolutely beautiful. If I just pull on the ribbon there so you can see how that works. That is such a lovely idea. Again, from the side, the mechanism that Alice just explained, you can see it. That, once again, if you hadn't got the template, you would find that very, very tricky to do.
Because you'd have to make sure they're all perfectly the same width. But it's not just that. When Paul was working it out, so your brain is saying, right, I'll just cut the pieces in half. But of course, then they're touching each other and you get that friction. So he's made a tiny little gap.
Yeah.
So if you actually lay them down, you can see there is a very tiny, tiny little gap there. But that allows them to pass smoothly past each other.
I love just how it all folds together. Look how...
And then it folds into the little spine again.
Small spine, a little bit of ribbon if you want to add it so you can tie that together. It is just such a lovely idea. Wow, over 70% of the entire stock of the one-day special has already gone. Do check those baskets. I'm looking at the clock. We're almost into the next hour. Ali will be having a little break before now and 8 o'clock, but she might be panicking a little bit. Who knows? Who knows? Let's have another look what we've got there, because all of those templates are there. The DVD with all the instructions, the tutorials, the hints, the tips. Ali has said even where she considers it's safer or better to use the thinner paper, she will tell you. You've got 2 bookcases in there. They just slot together. You can decorate them however you wish. You've got the tissue paper, you've got the ephemera in there, you've got the ribbon, you've got the decorative backgrounds there, almost a faux leather effect. You've got all of these papers here as well. It is an incredible deal. $34.96, that's all it is if you're buying. If you are going for anything else, such as the USB or other items we've got on the show and you're spending over £60, don't forget you can open up that flexi basket as well. But for the one-day special, 325024 is the item number that you need right now. You are saving £45. Ali, I have no idea where the hour went, as usual.
That was good fun.
It was good fun. It was great fun. How many books did we do? Did we do 4?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. We did do 4. We did do 4. Well done, Ali. Who knows? Might get another 4 in at 8 o'clock. We don't know. I'm back up on the next hour. Stay with me, though, because if you're looking for some plain cardstock or some decorative cardstock, we've got it coming up on a happy hour next. So don't go anywhere. See you soon.